Hi, this is Margo. This is Thursday afternoon, July 11th, 2019, 4:48 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. So we're continuing to watch this tropical storm slash potential Hurricane Barry forming here in the Gulf of Mexico, and here's a satellite image of what's going on. Here's what's been dumping water already in Louisiana, but that's not the big storm. The big storm is out here, and so they've already gotten lots of rain and they're already flooding. Here's an update from Climate Reanalyzer. This is how much accumulated water or precipitation they're planning on getting in the next 10 days. So they're anticipating that it's going to go up kind of along the Mississippi, but further over to the east, it looks like on this model. But this orange color is 2 feet of rain, 24 inches. When you get on into the gold color, it's even more than that. Be 30 inches. So it's not looking good, and I've got a couple of articles to share on that. This is from The Guardian, and this is published today, I think. Yep, from today. New Orleans battles flash floodings as it faces possible hurricane. City in state of emergency as it prepares for its biggest test since the failure of its flood protection levees during Hurricane Katrina. So it's already flooding there because of the rain they've already had, and it's not looking good. Okay, here it is, and I reported on this yesterday. A huge storm in the Gulf of Mexico was on Thursday expected to tighten into a whirling tempest and gather enough speed to be designated as a named system, in this case Storm Barry. As it approaches the coast with landfall expected on Saturday, Louisiana on Wednesday declared a state of emergency as the storm was fast developing into a Category 1 hurricane. Experts are warning that the resulting storm surge could push the already swollen Mississippi River precariously close to the tops of levees that protect New Orleans. So here's the potential. It's forecast to hit the Louisiana coastline on Saturday with sustained winds of up to 75 miles an hour. And so that's where they're showing it's going to go. And this is up through Tuesday, 1 a.m., and St. Louis is on the edge of it. So they're anticipating it coming on in. This is Thursday, 4 a.m. That's today. Here's Friday, 4 a.m., 1 a.m., and it's moving very slow, so it's gathering a lot of water as it's over the Gulf. And here's Saturday, 1 a.m., and then Sunday, 1 a.m. So here's New Orleans, and so it's going to hit in the middle of the night, it looks like. The river is expected to rise 19 feet by the weekend. The latest dire forecasts come as the city was already reeling from initial flash flooding earlier on Wednesday. Garbage containers tilted on their sides and pieces of wood floated down rain-swollen streets in a number of neighborhoods. Water was up to the doors of many cars during the morning rush hour, and a water spout over Lake Pontchartrain, which is directly adjacent to New Orleans, was also spotted in the Gentilly neighborhood. The morning storms were associated with the broader area of disturbed weather over the Gulf, which forecasters now believe will organize and strengthen as it moves west through the Gulf's warm waters. So here's a picture of the flooding on Wednesday. Tracking forecasts of the storm's path on Thursday had a mix of predictions that it would either pass to the west of New Orleans when it makes landfall, or more likely at this stage make a direct hit on the city. Forecasters say parts of Louisiana could see up to 12 inches of rain by Monday, with heavier amounts possible in some spots. So the state of emergency is going to last until August the 8th at this point. And they're saying there's going to be coastal flooding and widespread heavy rainfall, potentially impacting every part of the state. And it's not just Louisiana, it's a whole bunch of other states too. So there's that. And then Robin did a blog post last night tracking Barry, meet Hurricane Barry, and here's my report from last night. Thank you, Robin, for including that. And then he's got articles. Existential threat to New Orleans this weekend. Mandatory evacuation orders begin. So here's a different picture, and here's where they're showing it's going to be coming up. Nobody knows exactly. So this is from Hal Turner from yesterday, and he's got a lot of good pictures here. This recent satellite image is not showing up, but that's okay because we've got it right here from Climate Reanalyzer. This updates with the latest, and all you have to do is hit refresh and it'll update to the latest. And here it is on NASA Worldview. So let's refresh this and make sure we've got the latest. So this is from today, what it looks like. So here's the coastline, and here's, okay, let's look to yesterday. Here was the storm where it was raining, where they've already gotten a whole bunch of rain, and that's not Barry, that's just rain. And let's look at the day before. Okay, it wasn't raining on the 9th. Here it was on the 9th, this storm, the cloud moving in. And then on the 9th, there was this system, which was rain without destructive winds, except there have been some tornadoes now. And here it is. So here's the 10th, and here's the 11th, where we can see that storm is moved back out into the Gulf. And now here's Barry forming, and it's moving really slow, like 3 or 4 miles an hour, So, and it's moving now basically to the west, and so it's got lots of time to pick up a lot of water as it's hovering over the Gulf here. And this is toxic water. Remember that the Gulf of Mexico, remember the BP oil disaster? Well, that was here in the Gulf of Mexico. They never got that leak fixed and completely, and there were a lot of toxins that corrects it that they dumped into the ocean to make the oil fall down below the surface. So, and there's all kinds of toxins and stuff in this water, and so when it dumps the rain, it's going to be toxic. There's no telling what all's in it now. So let's run this movie. So here it is, starting today for 10 days. So in this model, it shows it's hitting right here and then moving over to the east. Now the Mississippi River goes right up here. So and then it's spreading on up into Mississippi, and we've got rain going up into Alabama. Yesterday we saw it moving more towards the west, but this is the new model from Climate Reanalyzer. It's showing going more to the north and the east as far as where the actual storm is headed. So we don't know, really. So let's see if there's anything else here. Due to recent flooding, the Mississippi River, or MS River, I don't know, I guess that's Missouri River, is already at 16 feet. Maybe that's, it says MS. I don't know if I don't know if that's in Mississippi. I guess that's Mississippi. A surge of 3 to 5 feet is expected from soon-to-be Barry, bringing forecasted surge to 19 to 21 feet Saturday morning. The levees can handle surge up to 20 feet before failing. This unfortunate series of events, an early arriving tropical storm coming while the Mississippi River is already flooded, poses an existential threat to the entire city of New Orleans. Now is the time to issue evacuation orders. If the government waits much longer, it will be too late. And we saw in the other article that evacuation orders have been entered. Now this is similar to what I showed on Climate Reanalyzer. And here's the evacuation orders been issued for Plaquemines Parish, shown on the map below. And here's another update. Here's the river. And then Paul Beckwith did a couple of videos about the situation down there. So I will leave links below for those two posts so that you can check those out. Now let's move on over to earthquakes. We have USGS pulled up for all magnitudes for the last 24 hours, and we're showing 1,719 earthquakes right now worldwide. And of those, 119 are 2.5 magnitude or higher. And most of those are still in our Southern California event area. So we're seeing a slight decrease in the number of earthquakes. Is still an enormous amount, but we're seeing a slight decrease. Here it is in the event area. I just call it the event area. Searles Valley, Ridgecrest, COSO Junction, and now it's like moving out to the west. But this is the area that I've been screenshotting every day, and today is the 7th day since all this started on July the 4th. And so here's the screenshot from this morning. 7/11, July 11th. And I took this at 9/11 in the morning, and we're showing 1,570 earthquakes here in the event area, and 1818 earthquakes worldwide of all magnitudes at 9/11 this morning. I thought those numbers were kind of fitting for today. So since then, we've got about the same number of earthquakes worldwide. Right now we're showing 1,800. So this morning it was 1818. And we were showing 1,570 this morning, and now it's 1,526. And yesterday we were showing 2,111 earthquakes worldwide at 9:07 in the morning, and 1,763 were at the swarm location. And at one point it got up to 1,800. But they've started going down. I don't know if if anything else is going to happen. A lot of people keep saying that there's another big one coming, and there are more coming, and all this stuff. But we do know that there is a rift that has formed in the earth there, and that's growing, and that's not going away. And we're seeing a whole bunch up here at COSO Junction, where they have lots of old volcanoes, and it's still very active. So we'll look at more detail in this when we get to that. So let's start with our 2.5 magnitude or higher. We're going to start down here in Indonesia. It's been really active today. Well, actually, let's just start down here in the Pacific. In the South Pacific, we've got 5.0 near Port Vila Vanuatu that came in at 8:31 this morning. That was in the ocean. And all these times I'm saying are Pacific time, because that's my time zone. Then this is the biggest one we've had today. A 6.0 came in off the coast of this little island near Orawa, Papua New Guinea. This came in at 10:08 this morning. It was very deep, 495 kilometers deep. So I'm going to pause and pull this up on Volcano Discovery. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I found it over on Volcano Discovery. They're calling it a 5.3 in the Solomon Islands 7 hours ago on July 11th. But and they listed it at a 504 kilometer depth. But this is the same one on USGS, the 6.0 at 495 kilometers depth. So different reporting stations report it differently. I thought that there would be some I felt it reports, but there are not any. So I guess it was so deep that that didn't cause any damage. When we look at the wave here, there was no tsunami warning for it. Because the last tsunami warning we see is from July the 9th. And now this is the 11th. So, with it deep like that, it doesn't cause as much shaking and trembling at the surface. And usually tsunamis are not created from really deep earthquakes. They have to be more shallow. So there's that one. Now let's move on around. Here's a 4.9 near Tual, Indonesia that came in last night at 7:30 p.m., 128 kilometers deep. Next, here's one right in between these little islands, a 5.1 near Laiwui, Indonesia at 7:38 this morning. 4.8 Kota Ternate at 2:24 this afternoon. And here's a 4.9 near Bitung at 3:06 this morning. And a 5.2 at Kota Ternate at 2:26 this afternoon. 2:46 this afternoon. So these two happened within a few minutes of each other. So this area is still very active. Here's a 4.2 at Tobelo at 1:10 this morning, and a 4.7 at Tobelo at 1:45 this afternoon. Then here's a 4.6 near San Nicolas, Philippines at 10:35 last night. That was in the ocean. Here 4.3 near Anatahan, Northern Mariana Islands at 1:37 this afternoon. Another deep one, 457 kilometers deep. Now the deep ones will cause the tectonic plates to shake around the planet. Here's a 5.1 in the ocean off the coast of Taiwan, near Yonaguni, Japan at 2:21 this afternoon. Here's one to the west of the mainland on Japan, a 4.4 near Tsuruoka, Japan at 12:04 this morning. It shows it in the ocean. Then up here off the coast of Kamchatka, so 4.4 at 1:07 this afternoon. Then coming on around, here's a 4.6 at the northern mid-Atlantic ridge. This came in at 1:33 this afternoon. Why is the red line gone there? Look, it just cuts out from Iceland down to here. How weird. There it is. See, it's right on the red line. Right in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And then here's a 4.4 near Fiambala, Argentina at 7:17 last night, 145 kilometers deep. That's all of the international earthquakes. So now going to all magnitudes. Hawaii is showing 5 here today. 1.7, that's at Kaloa. 1.9, 2.0, 1.8, and a 1.9. So that's lower than we see a lot of times. Still showing movement. Here in the Caribbean, we've got 10 here today. 1.7, 3.1, 2.7, 3.0, 2.4, 1.1, 2.5, 1.1, 1.4, 1.5, and a 2.9. So those are not big enough to do damage, but it's showing movement. Now in Alaska, it's showing 95 here today, which is an average number. Alaska averages between 95 and 100 every day. Of those, 3 were 2.5 magnitude or higher. The 2.7 at Atka, 3.3 at Yukon, and a 2.5 at Redoubt Volcano. So the higher magnitude ones, the numbers have gone down today. So we can see here's a microquake, a -1 at Adak. And here's 3 at Dutch Harbor, 3 small ones. We've got some just peppered around, coming on up. There's a 2.1 at Old Iliamna. Here at the Cook Inlet, we're seeing some, and here's some more. These are at Redoubt Volcano, 2.0, 2.5, 1.6, and 1.4. Here's Anchorage. We're seeing a few more peppered here today. These are small. These are in the ones range. Like I just saw 2.1. That's probably the highest. So we can see them spreading out. There's a couple at Fairbanks. Here at Kobuk. We've got 8 here today. This 2.0 is the biggest one. We've got a cluster here at Fort Yukon, 6 right there, 3.3. That's the biggest one. And then right at the northern end, we've got 9 here today at 3.3. That's the highest there. Koktovik in Arctic Village. We've got some in the little armpit. Here's another ice quake, a 1.1. Now let's come on down to the lower 48. We're showing 1682 down here. So let's get our calculator. 1682. And of those, 1537 are in the event area. So 145 others are what we'll look at first. Okay, here in Oklahoma, we've got 11 here today. We've got 1.4 Hennessy, 1.1 and a 1.2 at Tuttle, 1.7 Pawnee, 1.6 Tuttle, 2.3 and 2.0 at Caldwell, 2.1 Helena, 1.9 El Reno, 2.5 El Reno, and a 1.9 at Tuttle. So that biggest one was the 2.5. Coming on across. We've got some on the border between Arizona and Utah. We'll just do these 3 here. A 1.6, 2.0, and 1.4. Then we've got 2 at Enoch, a 1.2 and a 1.5 at Enoch, Utah. Here's a 0.1 at Milford. And now in the Yellowstone area, we've got 4, 1.2 at Lincoln, 0 at Lima, 1.2 Soda Springs, and a 2.0 at Soda Springs. Then in the Pacific Northwest, we're showing 7 here today. Now look at this one off the coast of Vancouver Island at 2.1. This came in at 7:13 last night. Now on our trimmers map, remember we saw a bunch clustering down here? See? This is from yesterday, the trimmers. There were 99. It's just a whole bunch on Vancouver Island. And then down here, northwest of Medford, and then a big cluster near in the Mount Shasta area, and then another cluster down here near Petrolia. Let's see if we've got anything for today. Not yet. Normally normally the day behind, since they put their new tremor map up. .6 at Buckley, 1.2 Mount Hood Village. Remember we saw that swarm there yesterday. A 1.8 at Amity. And here's an explosion, 1.2 explosion at Cottage Grove. That's at a negative .6 kilometers depth, so that was probably a blast of some kind, or I've seen things like that are usually construction. It looks like we've got 3 at Mount Hood today, 1.4, 1.0, and a 1.2. And so that's calming down, because we saw a whole bunch. We saw 40, no, what, I can't remember how many we saw here yesterday, but the day before it was 69. So that's calming down. And Mount Hood's a big volcano. So here in Northern California, 1.0, 1.0 at Willits, and a 1.9 at Lake Pillsbury. Here in the Geysers region, we've got 28 today. These are all 1s and under. Here's a 1.9 at Angwin. Let's come on over. Here's a one right on a lake. Lake Davis. Look, a 0.5 near Portola. It's right on the edge of Lake Davis. Here in the Reno area, zero magnitude near Verdi. Here's one on the border of 0.9 Smith Valley. We've got a cluster here to the east of Pyramid Lake. Now, it's in these mountains just to the east of Pyramid Lake. Nightingale Mountains. We've got 4 here. 1.0, 0.7, 0.8, and a 1.2. Then up here we've got a 2.7 near Battle Mountain. They've been having some in that area the last few days. There's a lot of mining that goes on up there, so could be a weak point there. Here's a 1.0 at Goldfield. These are small down here in southern Nevada. Got a few here, just a few. We'll zoom in and see how many. We've got 7 here at Beatty and Pahrump today, and these are very small microquakes. My voice is killing me today, so it feels weak. Can barely talk. So Here in the Mammoth area, we've got 36, so that's an uptick. These are ones and under. 2.7, that's the biggest one. And a 2.0. .5 at Independence. Coming down the San Andreas fault line, a 1.8 Day Valley, 1.7 Aromas, 1.5 Pinnacles, 2.1 Similar, 1.5 Ojai. We've got some quarry blasts, 1.1 quarry blast at Lebec, and a 1.3 quarry blast at Tehachapi. Then, not counting the event, we've got 30 down here in the Southern California area. So these are all small. Here's a 2.4 near Malibu. Desert Hot Springs. Here's Glen Avon has 6 here today. 2.1 is the highest. Now let's look over here. We've got a 1.5 South El Monte and a 1.1 at Montebello. And so on. So those are small. That's not a huge number. That's kind of an average number of what we see down here. Now let's look a little more closely in this event area. And it looks like, now this is the one, the size I've been screenshotting every day, but it looks like it's spreading out a little bit more around the edges from what I've been screenshotting. So I may have to zoom out a little for my next screenshot. So see, that's, let's go. Yeah, I'm gonna have to zoom out a little, I think, to get them, because they're moving to the east. There's a line to the east and there's a line to the west, and this is at Johannesburg. We've got a cluster going on here. Let's see, that's kind of acting up now. We've got 10 here. The highest one is this 1.9. So it's kind of filling in the whole area, but we're still seeing, this is the higher magnitude. This is 2.5 magnitude or higher. We're still seeing them lined up in this straight line from the southeast to the northwest, from Searles Valley up to COSO Junction and a little bit beyond. And it's actually, we've got now some clustering with the larger ones to the east. At Trona, we've been seeing that. So let's see, we've had some 4s here in the last 24 hours. So let's see, 4.5 magnitude or higher in the last 7 days. So we've had a 4.5 came in yesterday at 5:14. The others are older than that. We're showing 24 in the last 7 days, 4.5 or higher. But there have been some 4s. I'm gonna do find 4 point. Okay, here's the latest one. It was 4.1 near Little Lake. This came in last night at 4:45 p.m. Thought I saw some 4s today, so we got 3s since then. Highlight on. Here's another one. 4.0 at Olancha. Oh, this came in this is the 11th, this morning at 12:04. So that other one was this afternoon. I was right. Now look at this. This is at a negative 1.5 kilometer depth. This means that the epicenter of the earthquake is up in the old chamber of wherever this happened, whether it's a volcanic chamber or a mountain. So it shows movement of magma making it shake up above the ground. And if you want, we can look at this on Google Earth. So it happened there. So that's strange, because that looks kind of, I don't know. Here's the COSO Range wilderness area. Here's a whole bunch of cones, cinder cones from old volcanoes. You can see them. See? There's COSO Peak. So anyway, the epicenter was at minus 1.5 kilometers deep. Here's a 4.3 at COSO Junction. This came in at 9:10 last night. So we had what, three 4s, there's that 4.0. Let's highlight them again. There were 3 4s. So, I just saw another one. What happened to it? Here it is. This came in at 4:45 this afternoon. A little late. So there are 83 that are 2.5 magnitude or higher. Out of over 1,500. So most of them are 1s and under. In the 1s is what we're seeing now. A lot of 2s though, but mainly 1s. I wanted to show you something else while we're here. U.S. fault lines. This is, when you turn that on, you can see, we can see it better on this map. Oh, let me turn it on over here. We can see these red lines. These are fault lines. These are breaks in the plate. And here is this fault line that runs east and west, straight across, and it's right at the base of where this all the action is happening, and it runs sorry. This runs through the Johannesburg area and over here, right where they're blasting on that fault line. And we also have faults, these red lines. Here's another one. See how they're running through? See? It's just littered with them. So the earth is literally just like being hammered away here. So I don't know what's going to happen. So I'll go ahead and wrap this up for tonight. I hope everyone is doing as well as they can be, considering everything. This is a very stressful time. It's very stressful to be looking at all these things. It's stressful to be reporting on these things. It's stressful to try and discern the truth. It's just a really hard time that we're living in. So we need to just be able to be quiet and go within and ask for guidance and ask for peace and ask for guidance and ask for protection. Look, here's a 3.1 that just came in Cyril's Valley at 5:08 p.m. and it's at a minus 0.1 kilometer depth. You want to go look at that? Let's go look at that real quick. We've still got this up. Oh, you know what? I forgot to take the other place marker off. That's why it didn't show up. Let me refresh. Oh, there it is. Well, we can see that that's up in the side of a mountain. That's a mountainous area. So, Searles Valley, yeah, it's up north of the Searles Valley area. Right up here in the mountains. That's where that one happened. And I'll bet the other one was probably in a mountainous region too, and it's just hard to tell. So, things are happening. The end is near. I do believe. Uh-oh. Where's my earthquakes? I do believe the end is near. Sooner than we know. Okay, I think that's all of them. Yep, that's the red one that just came in. Just before that was a 3.6 at Little Lake at 4:52. They're coming in fast. Here's a 3.3 at Trona at 4:51. So, you know, the number may be picking up. Here's a 3.0 at Trona at 4:47. So, we'll see. We'll see if the numbers stay lower than they had been. Well, right now it's 18:16. This morning it was 18:18. So that's about the same. So it just barely slowed down this morning. So I'm going to sign off before something else pops up here. So until next time, God bless you. Go in peace, and I recommend everyone get your spiritual house in order while you still have time. And I'll talk to you real soon. Good night.